Welcome to Launch Stories. We're all about connecting and educating entrepreneurs. And Studio C at Cowork Chilliwack is located in the traditional and unceded territory of the Stalo people. We are thankful to be able to live, work, and create in this beautiful area. Thanks to our sponsors for helping us put these monthly events on, the Chilliwack Economic Partners, Chilliwack Innovation Network, and the Chilliwack Chamber of Commerce. And thanks to our partners for organizing Launch Stories every month, Cowork Chilliwack, Currency Marketing, and Zinum Ventures. I'm thrilled to introduce you to our guest this evening. Colleen Neels is the co-owner of Farmhouse Brewing. Show of hands, who's been to Farmhouse? Almost everybody. Well, if you haven't, you had a sample tonight, and you must go. So please give a warm Launch Stories welcome to Colleen. Thank you. Have a seat. I didn't tell you about this one, but my first question is, can you give me an elevator speech of what Farmhouse Brewing does?
So Farmhouse is a brewery that's on farmland. We brew as well as farm on our property, and we have our tasting lounge as well as our brewery there too, so you guys can enjoy it all in one.
Nice. So early life, where were you born?
Red Deer, Alberta.
We're going way back.
Yeah, I was only there for 6 months, so yeah.
And then directly to Chilliwack?
Right to Chilliwack, so Chilliwack's all that I know.
Whereabouts in Chilliwack?
We lived in Greendale for about 10 and a half years, and we just moved to Yarrow.
Okay.
Yeah, before that, on the north side of Chilliwack here. Yeah.
Nice. Early career, you mentioned that one of your first jobs post high school, I guess, was Future Shop.
Yeah.
Prior to being Best Buy.
Yeah.
What did you learn there?
So I got hired as inventory control manager there, and got to learn a whole bunch about, running a store on the inventory basis and making sure that everything's correct and all aligned. Coinciding with like sales and everything like that, and from Farmhouse, from Future Shop, I went to work with the Cultus Lake Parks Board.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, at Future Shop, I can't imagine there's so much inventory there, and all of these weird little adapters and very expensive TVs and so forth. I imagine that was a trial by fire to learn all of that.
It was. It was a large learning curve, but a good challenge at the same time to keep control of all the inventory that was in there, as well as the staff that I worked with. Each month we had to do like an inventory count of the entire store overnight. Wow. So yeah, I did. That was the most challenging part, was to stay awake all night long counting things. Because
many stores will do an annual check of their inventory, but I imagine with that much capital in product, that's important. So there's got to be a crazy Future Shop story that you could tell us about one of those overnighters.
Not quite.
Not really?
I did stay awake, thankfully. That was the crazy part, because I'm not a nighttime person at all. We made it through each month, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from inventory to the Cultus Lake Parks Board, what did you do there?
The Parks Board, I worked with the Visitor Center Service, and I worked with the manager there. And that was good to learn both sides, and to be under her, learning hospitality as well as the management side of things for the Parks Board. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to jump right in, because that jump from some pretty good jobs, but to what you're doing now seems like a massive chasm. Mm-hmm. Let's go back and talk about the origin story of Farmhouse.
That's the original drawing I drew.
Wow.
Thankfully, we have a good graphic designer that kind of seen the vision and changed it up a bit. Yeah.
You and your husband, Dan, took a brewing course.
Yeah. So brewing for us started out as a hobby and a passion. Dan signed up for a course at SFU, and I decided I'll take this alongside with you. And it was a lot of science. And he got a lot of hands-on experience, and so did I, because he built a miniature brewery in our garage that was all food safe and everything. If you come to Farmhouse and you can have a peek in the hallway door into the brew house and you see all those big steel tanks. Well, it was like that, but mini version, like about that tall.
Okay.
So really, really awesome to learn on that system. That system we actually still have at Farmhouse, and we can use it as a pilot system for like little test batches to see if we like the beer that we have an idea for before we put it in and invest in putting it into a large tank.
So brewing in the garage, is that a hobby?
Yeah.
Or it was, okay.
A big hobby. The Daybreak Hazy, which is one of our most popular beers, it's a core beer of ours, is actually a recipe that we developed in our garage. It has been tweaked by our brewer to make, bring out the flavors more and, make it, in our opinion, a little bit better. Yeah. But it is the same recipe. Yeah.
And so you're living in Greendale. You've got some acreage there, I believe?
Yeah, we had 3.5 acres. And when we decided that it was time for Dan to make a career change so that we would have more of a family life and more of a life together, because he worked out of town all the time, building bridges. Basically, we decided if we could open up a brewery, how do we do it? Would we need to win $1 million to do it? That probably wouldn't happen. So how could we possibly make it happen if we would want to open up our own brewery and do something that we're actually passionate about, interested in about, and
So what's the timeline from, okay, we've taken the course, we're in the garage, and now we're thinking, Dan, from what I understand, was working with his father and in his company in bridge and concrete construction and traveling. Is it a 5-year span? Is it
around 5 years? Yeah, because we were actually living in the north side of Chilliwack when the SFU course was happening, and then we moved out to Greendale. I would say about 5 to 7 years. It seemed to have gone in a blink of an eye.
And you mentioned it, but it seemed like from step one, this was about creating something for your family, something to bring you together.
And something that everybody in the community can enjoy, no matter if you have a family, if you're, a senior, or if you're a young person. We wanted to create a little something for everybody, a place where people can gather and relax. Yeah, and something that we can use. Dan could use his talents and I could use my talents, and we could, run something that we both are passionate about.
And so you mentioned winning the lottery.
Yeah, it didn't happen. It still hasn't happened.
So tell us about, you're on Lickman and South Sumas.
Yeah.
You're next to Rainbow Greenhouses.
Yeah.
It's a 11 to 12 acre parcel of land.
Yeah. How did we get it?
Yeah, well, how did you learn about it? How did you think that maybe this could be where we want to do this, and just some of the steps along the way?
Yeah, well, Dan and I, when we were dating, we would do a lot of farm work, like custom farm work together. We spent a lot of hours in tractors. And so we know the area of Greendale. Like, he grew up in Greendale pretty much, and we know the area all around. So we know all the farmers and all the neighbors, and we decided that we were going to sell up our hobby farm in Greendale and purchase that farm. We heard about it because it used to be known as the old goat farm in Chilliwack. Rhea Rumpf, she rented it for about 15 years, had goats running everywhere. And she unfortunately passed away. So we, of course, heard about it because Dan's known her since he was a kid. And we inquired about purchasing the property, and it was a go. So they said, yeah, you could purchase the property. No problem. Here's the price. So we thought, okay, this is where we're going to see real quick if we can make our projected budget, put that in a business plan. So that's what we did with what was left over from our hobby farm sale. And we presented that actually to the agricultural board as well as the liquor board.
It's on ALR land.
It's on farmland, and it would be a liquor business being a brewery. So without the approval of the ALC and without the approval of the liquor distribution branch, we shouldn't even take it to the city. So we had to get their approval first. So we wrote up our business plan.
Got it.
This is our vision for Farmhouse.
Like most purchase agreements have something like subject to home inspection.
Yeah.
Yours is subject to being able to build a brewery on this farmland by this entity, the Agriculture Land Commission, that is known as an impenetrable fortress.
Yeah, that's accurate.
So that must have been a killer business plan.
Yeah, we worked really hard on it. Dan and I wrote it out together. I edited all of it. The financials we had to scour over because opening up a brewery, how do you know how everything's going to cost? From the brew house to the tanks to the instruments in the kitchen to the oven and all the tables that we have to purchase and the building cost itself, which thankfully Dan has a lot of experience in knowing what costs are in trades. But we did a lot of research, hours and hours and hours of research while we put together our business plan, and we did it as well as we could and had a good flow to it, and then submitted it to the ALC and to the liquor board.
This is around 2019 probably? Or even before?
2018 going into 2019.
Got it.
And the liquor board says, tell us what the ALC says. So we go to the ALC and we push and push for an answer because otherwise you don't get one quickly. And they said, well, you need to grow at least a minimum of 5 acres of what's going in your primary product, which is our liquor. So we had to either grow barley, hops. We couldn't provide water. So we decided we're going to go with barley. And they said, well, that has not been done in your region, in the area before, successfully. We don't think you can do it. We're not sure we want to approve it. And so I turned around and said, let's prove them wrong. So we said, if we can successfully harvest barley and show you that it's a great crop in this region, because our summers are getting, a bit longer, a bit more dry. We know the land, we know the dirt that's in this land, we know it can grow it. And if we do it successfully, you can put a stamp of approval on our application, can't you? They said, well, let's see what you could do. So that's what we did. Before we started building, that was our first thing, plowed up the field, got it all prepped, planted our barley, combination of Metcalfe and Copeland, and we had a successful harvest. It was great. We had our harvester that we purchased out from a farmer in Rosedale, itty bitty compared to Alberta. But it was wonderful, and good memories too, doing that harvest. Dan and I both harvested the field. We took turns doing the harvesting that barley and got all the bushels in, and had a Find You in the Valley come out and do drone shots and everything. And we sent pictures in the movie out to them and said, we can do it. And they said, okay, well, if you can grow that barley, and you can have your minimum 5 acres, no problem. You just purchase whatever else you need, because we'll never have enough barley and hops to keep up with the production we have. Mm-hmm. They said purchase anything else you need with barley and hops from a local BC grower or distributor, which aligned with our support local vision. And we said, okay, we'll do that. So we have a contract with a guy out in Dawson Creek to get our malt and barley, and we went from there. Liquor board showed them our approval from ALC and our projections. Thankfully, our projections we met them and then some. So they were happy giving us the approval and then seeing the progress we made in the first year, especially during COVID.
Now you can disclose as much or as little, or but did you need to seek financing? Was there a bank involved?
Yeah, we had to seek financing.
Because it would, I imagine they might see this as pretty risky.
Yeah, so we got a loan from a local bank here, and then the COVID was looming in the background, and everybody was talking about, like, we don't know what's going to happen, how bad this is going to shut down the world, if it does. And if it does, what's the impact on banks? And they were talking to us and telling us this, and we're like, oh, we don't have a good feeling. They pulled out. They said it was too risky, and said to Dan, we've already sold our farm. We need to go all in.
You've literally bought the farm.
Yeah, we bought the farm.
Which is an expression.
We told each other that this is going to work, and we're going to exhaust every single avenue until it does work. So Dan and I researched other banks and kind of like phoned them up, had meetings, interviewed them. We landed on FCC Agriculture.
Okay.
I thought, this is a good fit because we're in ag, and they support ag, and had a really good feeling with them off the start. And they were more than supportive. We grew a relationship with them, grew a friendship with them, and thanks to FCC, we have Farmhouse. So they didn't give up on us even though COVID hit, and we're very thankful for that. Yeah.
So you mentioned Dan, obviously with a construction background and connections. He was able to act as a general contractor and pull in favors and friends and other professionals to do some of the work.
So Dan, with all his experience, almost 20 years in bridge building, he knows a ton of trades that are around, like pretty much all of them. And he has, because of what he was doing in that business, he has all the management experience with trades to line them up properly and to ensure, and know the process too, very knowledgeable with the process, and to line them up properly so that they work together with each other and to get a certain deadline. From breaking ground until opening day, it was 8 months.
Wow.
And that was almost, we were told by the city, almost unheard of.
So is City of Chilliwack doing the building permits, or is that on the ALC, or?
So we go to the city for, of course, like the business license and the building permits and all that. And that first meeting of where we needed their approval to build the brewery, that public meeting, oh man, we were sick. But it was good. The mayor was more than supportive and said, I don't know who wouldn't want this in Chilliwack. They've seen our vision from the get-go. And
I've seen him with a glass of beer here and there.
Yeah, they come every once in a while, which is great. And we will forever support the city of Chilliwack because, we don't forget that support.
So here's a picture further into the build. I can see at least 2 workplace violations there.
Oh yeah.
Underage and no hard hat, but I'm assuming
you can employ your children actually.
Okay.
Yeah. You're allowed to do that.
Okay, fair enough. You did all the research.
But no, he has no hard hat.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's giving you a hard time. And so I was going to ask, how long from buying to building to opening? So
buying the farm, a little over a year to opening.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. And
did you use any of the existing infrastructure? Was there a barn or?
Yeah, my favorite fun fact about Farmhouse is that everything except for about, I think, 15 or so feet at the end is on our manure pit that was at the farm. We seen that manure pit and thought, I wonder if this is structurally sound to be a foundation for the brewery, because then we don't take up even more space on the farm. We can keep more land. We had a guy come out and kind of x-ray the manure pit and said, there is more than enough rebar in here and it is never going to break.
Okay.
So we cleared that out, laid down all our lines, all our pipes, all our electrical, filled it in with concrete, and there is Farmhouse on the manure pit.
A fun fact, but you probably don't lead with that.
Oh, I do. I love it.
Fair enough.
Being in farming and spreading my fair share of manure with Dan, I love it.
Cool.
Yeah, you're in Chilliwack. You kind of got to know farming, right?
Well, we'll jump into the operations. You alluded to it, but you opened in October 2020, which is literally just days away from your five-year anniversary. But if we look back and have some memory of October 2020, we're 6-7 months into a global pandemic.
Yeah, no one wants to remember that time.
Fair enough. But tell us about that first year of operations.
Well, when we opened, they were just suggesting everybody stand 6 feet apart. Within a week of opening day, they said, here's all the restrictions that you have to abide by and that you have to manage or micromanage all your guests that come in. So that was like, okay, here we go. We don't know how long this is going to last. For about our first 2 years, we didn't know what normal was. Like, what is our normal business operations? What is our normal income here, net or gross? We had no idea because COVID wasn't normal. Like, the amount of people that came in the summer then versus now, like, now we know what normal is. So,
right.
Yeah. So our fourth year, our third year was actually our first normal year of operation. But COVID taught us a lot of things. It taught us a lot of patience, which is good. It also taught us, what we are truly grateful for during COVID, and that's the kindness of people and the community that we're involved in. And that really, in order to make your business successful, you have to learn to lean into the community that you're a part of and be a part of it too, to give back that love.
Yeah, and I'm thinking the onus put on restaurants was pretty huge, right? You became kind of the police of our people presenting.
And took the brunt of everything. Yeah. Lots of keyboard warriors, lots of people that would come, not as many people in person as online, but definitely there was people that came that were just, it was not nice for our servers or for us.
And did you have points where your staff got COVID and were taken out, or were you pretty safe or lucky that way? Or
we, for the most part, we were okay. We did have staff have their turn of getting COVID, including us, whether they were vaccinated or not vaccinated. Everybody got it at some point, but we just held each other up and took turns, lifting each other's sections up, in terms of kitchen and serving, and
I'm going to read a block of type that I found on your menu and your website.
Sure,
because you are in this unique situation of operating on
being
farmland.
On a farm, yeah.
But it says that as Farmhouse is on ALR, farmland, our tasting lounge and brewery has different rules and regulations than other breweries in Chilliwack. Legally, a restaurant and
on a brewery.
Regulations other than breweries in Chilliwack. Legally, a restaurant in a brewery on ALR land is not allowed. This means our tasting lounge must do bar service, and we aren't allowed to bring liquor to the tables. We can, however, bartend and serve everything else to you.
Yeah.
So you have people coming up, they've made reservations, and then you're trying to explain
Yeah, we don't do reservations.
Oh, fair enough. But they're coming in and they're sitting at the tables, and I imagine
that does still happen every once in a while. It's usually with out of town people, though. We find a lot of people in Chilliwack have gotten used to the way that Farmhouse operates, which is great, and most people actually appreciate it because it's more of an experience. You check in at the host stand. Every host is supposed to explain this to our guests. Some listen, some don't, but that's okay. And then you order at the bar. We take your order there. We bartend, give you the liquor, and you take that to your tables, and we bring the food, everything else to you. Do you need water? You ask for it. We bring it out to you, extra plates, anything else, we'll bring out. We've learned to work around it. We've learned to actually appreciate the service that we're restricted to. And it's okay because it makes us more unique.
Right.
Than the other businesses that are in our.
And you were telling me that there are 6 breweries like this in BC.
Yeah. So it's not common.
Right, compared to wineries where there are
thousands
that have some voice in government. So you don't really have a huge voice to have these regulations change, but it sounds like it's working. And
for us it's working, which is great.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you have brewery in your name, and that's where you came from.
Yeah.
So brewing in the garage versus brewing at scale, was that a steep learning curve? Did you hire a brewmaster or?
Yeah, so we hired a brewer. And our current brewer is Matt Friesen. He's pretty awesome. And he, versus little versus big, like you multiply.
Right.
Of course, there is more of a pressure and expectation when you do brew in larger tanks, because you don't want to have your batch infected. You don't want to have anything screw up with like the actual brewing process too. That would, put the actual whole brew at risk. Like, there is more pressure to it. However, if you're used to brewing at that size, then that's what you're comfortable with. And thankfully, we have a more than competent brewer that's very much comfortable at his job.
And have you added as it's gone along, or did you pretty much build out this at the get-go?
I would say most of our tanks are what we still have. We did add like a really large tank at the end of there. I think maybe 2 total. Just like the one super large one is for sour batches, because our sours are extremely popular, so we needed a dedicated tank specifically for that. We don't have a lot of room in our brew house.
Do you feel like you're busting at the seams? Do you have room
Pretty
to
much.
expand a little? Or?
Not really, no. Soon we would like to have some more. We'll apply to the city to create, this is just a vision, might or might not happen, but to create a space just out behind the brewery to store more beer.
Okay.
That would be ideal, because the more storage, more space you have, the more you can do.
Tell us about your beers.
Yeah. Our beers they're awesome. We do have a large variety. We have 20 taps inside of our tasting lounge alone and 20 taps out in our outdoor bar. 18 of those taps in the tasting lounge is all ours. So we have 18 beers. And then we have a tap dedicated to Soma Cider, which is a nice local BC cidery out in Kelowna. And then Healthy Hooch Kombucha, which is a non-alcoholic kombucha beverage. So we have a variety of beers that we brew and serve. We have everything from dark lager. We do stouts in the fall and winter. We have pilsners for people who like lighter beer. Lagers, sour beers, like I said, are very popular, especially ours, which I'm thankful for. They're delicious. And we have 2 radlers. So radlers are, if you're getting introduced to beer and you're like, I'm not a beer drinker, I don't like beer, I've never liked beer, I do kind of like wine, so it's you try the radler. It's half juice, half sour beer, but because it's half juice, it's delicious, right?
So in 2018, when you're dreaming about this and see the property in Chilliwack, I'm wondering, Old Yale would have been going.
Yeah, they're just up down the road.
That would have been it, basically. But since then, there's Fieldhouse, there's Sidekick, there's a couple others that I'm not thinking of at the moment. But breweries and this type of thing are having a moment. Has that affected you, or?
I think it's actually helped. We didn't have any help from other breweries before we got into the industry. I think they were very cautious and wary of letting other people in. However, once we were open, they were more than welcoming. So that was great. And having our brew friends down the road from us, Old Yale, I think it helps us, both of us. Yeah, because then people like going and comparing different breweries and going from one to the next. And they're 2 totally different, us versus Old Yale or Fieldhouse are 2 totally different kind of breweries, businesses. We are 90% of our sales are focused on site, bringing people in, and whereas 10% are off-site in liquor stores that are outside of Farmhouse. Old Ale and Fieldhouse, you'd be shocked to know how massive they are in their distribution. They are 90% distribution from what I know. And their tasting lounge is a complement to the amount of beer that they put out throughout BC, which it's impressive, how much beer they make. They are large, very large companies. We are very micro in comparison. Yeah.
Staffing. How many staff do you have during your summer season?
During summer, we've known summer to be like our busy time. So we make hay while the sun shines. We have about 44 to 46 employees every summer. Most of them are university students, and they come back every summer, which is wonderful. We love that. In the wintertime, we're down to between 24 to 26 employees. Yeah.
Has recruiting been
drastic.
Tough? Or have you been pretty fortunate in that regard?
We've been fortunate. Thankfully, toughing through COVID and I think proving ourselves as a business, we've been able to create a name and also a culture at Farmhouse where everybody knows, like, you come in and you're greeted well, you're taken care of well, with a smile on our server's face and kitchen's face. And so we've come to have a name in the business world. So thankfully, like, getting staff isn't too bad at all.
That's good.
Yeah, we just this past year we got our yearly numbers in, and we have a 92% retention rate in our employees.
Wow. And I imagine it works out really well with university students.
Yeah.
So it's not like unfortunate that you're having to lay off a bunch of folks. They're naturally
which
going
no one
away.
ever wants to do.
Exactly.
They, of course, most of them go in university for 4 years.
Yeah.
So we know at least we've got them for 4 years. If they do want to stay, they're more than welcome to. And before they go off to their prospective jobs that they have trained for in university. But yeah, they come back. The only tough part about it is, like, right now, it would be our transition time. So they go back to school, but if we're having like a late summer, kind of like what we're doing right now, it is tough in the staffing.
Got it.
Yeah, we're kind of short-staffed sometimes.
So you've got a great menu, but
Thank you.
It's intentionally simple and small to a degree.
Yeah.
Tell us about what went into making all of this. Are you a master chef? Like, were you?
No, I'm a master eater.
Okay.
Like, really love food.
Okay.
There's a lot of taste testing that happened at the beginning. The dough alone, making the perfect recipe, using the right flour.
So taste testing, that's a business expense, right, as you're developing?
Yeah, but we were pretty sick of dough at the end of it. But we did find, like, the right flour and the right ingredients to go into our dough to make just the perfect fluffy texture for our crusts and everything. Our artisan style pizza is thin crust, so we had to make sure that it was perfect for the oven. We only cook with a wood fire oven. We don't have like any cooktops or any deep fryers or anything like that. That's what we utilize. So that was very important. As for choosing what pizzas went on the menu when we first opened, that was pretty much what Dan and I love to eat ourselves. So the basics, like pepperoni. We wanted Hawaiian, like the classic pizzas, cheese margherita, but then we wanted to do something a little fancier, like speck and ricotta. We wanted to have because, like, everybody likes speck or prosciutto. And it's a nicer pizza because it has more greens on it and everything. Eventually, like, with our chef that we have now, he would come up with ideas, add more pizzas, take some pizzas away depending on how they're doing or the cost for the pizzas. And we, more taste testing, which is great. And then if we have an idea, we just throw it out there. And if our chef or our brewer wants to go with it, that they do.
And you've formed partnerships with many other Chilliwack, Greendale-based businesses.
Yeah, like I mentioned, our focus from the get-go was to focus on local and to focus on the community that we're in and utilize the other businesses and farms that are around us in our business. So, for example, the pizzas have Smith's and cow cheese on them. The Hawaiian has Johnson's garlic-infused pork tenderloin on it. And we try to utilize, like, our honey for our beer that we put, like we had a wildflower honey beer. That's from the Adams Road Honey Farm. Greendale Lavender is like our original Radler, which is still our most popular one, is the blueberry lavender Radler. We get the food lavender from Greendale Lavender just down the road from us. So we try to reach out to as many companies that we can that are local to put in both our food and beverage programs.
I meant to ask you earlier, you went all in on this property.
Yes.
Did you end up living there, or?
Yeah. So we lived there for about 3 weeks. We went from a 2,600 square foot house down to a 1,200 square foot house with the 5 of us and a dog and 2 cats. And we didn't sleep a wink. The traffic dies down at 2 a.m. at the intersection and kicks back up with Rainbow Greenhouses and Fisher Lumber across the street at about 4:30 in the morning. So we didn't sleep for 3 weeks, and we thought, I wonder if our neighbors who bought our place found a renter yet. Why didn't clue into us sooner that we should ask to rent it off the hop? I don't know, but we asked them, do you have a renter yet? And they said, no, why? Do you have one? It's like, yeah, us. Can we move back in? So the next day we had a moving truck and moved back into our old place and lived there for another 3.5 years before we found our place in Yarrow and before we could afford our place in Yarrow.
And I imagine that separation is good too. If you were
it
on
is
site,
actually. Yeah, when we were
24/7.
just down the road, we were about 4 minutes away and get a lot of phone calls. And it's all what you get used to, right? So being in Yarrow, it's like, hey, give us at least a half an hour heads up, right? Because it takes 18 minutes to get there. So, and we need a little bit of time to get ourselves situated beforehand. So, yeah, a lot less phone calls. And it's nice to, like, because we are owner operators, we're there pretty much 6 days a week.
Yep.
Not all the time, because we have other stuff that we have going on, like meetings and now Abbotsford. So it's a good situation that's there now with the distance.
We did a site visit, Rebekah and myself, last week, and did some taste testing of our own, which was phenomenal. But we met Monty.
Oh yeah, Monty.
Tell us about Monty, the brewery pup.
Yeah, he's well known at our brewery. Monty is 7 now. He's a wonderful sheepadoodle, half Old English sheepdog, half poodle. He's actually, during COVID, I got him certified, or got us certified. He's a registered certified therapy dog, so we volunteer in Chilliwack. Currently, we have a contract with Promontory Elementary, but we do other things like school visits, hospital we can do as well, because he's hypoallergenic, and he's just super friendly. We have stickers of him, and we raise money from those stickers, goes to the SPCA.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And he has his own beer.
Yeah. Our very first brewer, he had to move to the Sunshine Coast to be with his wife, who has a job out there. Before he left, that was a little surprise from him. So
Cool.
yeah.
We've talked about the brewing side of it. But
Yeah.
Farm is in the title as well.
Yeah.
Who does the farming?
So Dan and I both do the farming when it comes to like planting and plowing and everything. And our kids join in too. That's our son Jeremy standing there next to one of our farm hands, Jeremy
Okay.
Gill. And Dan's actually in the driver's seat there. But we do it all together. Like even the hop field that we put in, we are partnered with Tops Hops because we wanted someone to manage the hop field for us because we can only put so much on our plate. Our son Christian, he mows all the time in between the hop rows, and they participate a lot from the building, which you've seen in the photo at the beginning. Our kids are there with us, like of course in summertime all the time. We've taught them how to chop wood properly, so when we are allowed fires, the firewood is split and chopped by our kids, and they are slowly learning the business and slowly learning how to work.
What are the crops you've got on the property?
So we have barley. That was the one that we first and foremost started off with. We still have majority of our acreage behind Farmhouse is barley. And then we have about 3.5 acres of hops. Yeah. Which, of course, like I said, we'll never have enough to keep up with our production, even if our whole field was full. So we try to focus local on what we put in our beer, including our hops.
So far, all of this just sounds like nothing but success. Like they're just so simple all the way along, but there's got to be some hurdles.
Yeah, I wish it was. Well, the first hurdle was the bank.
Right.
Second hurdle was COVID, and that was something. If anybody has had a business or worked with anybody for a business during COVID, it was tough. But there's more hurdles. Like summertime, we make hay while the sun shines, but wintertime we always lose. So summertime we have to learn how much we need to squirrel away and budgeting when it comes to expenses at the brewery. Our playground that we have at our brewery, for example, that was in our business plan from the get-go. But playgrounds are so expensive. And we didn't have, at the time, enough equity to get the loan for the playground. So we had to wait 3 years. But you figure other things out in those time too, and things that teach you maybe think out of the box a little. So we put in a professional putting green in the meantime, give people stuff to do. We have cornhole as well. We have a few of my chickens are there. So during the nice seasons. And
I was checking out Instagram, and you've done spin class and other things on
we've partnered with local other businesses. Our Mamba cycle event is every August.
Okay.
And they're a wonderful company to partner along with. We also do stuff with Chilliwack Chambers and City of Chilliwack. We host them. We try to give back as much as we can in the community. We try to focus on Ag for Autism, because it's agricultural based. We give all our empties to the 4-H group, things like that. We have Cops for Cancer that comes every year. They end their tour at Farmhouse. So, yeah, we try to include other.
I'm glad they don't start there.
Yeah, right. You might have more motivation. You never know.
Fair enough. And speaking of thinking out of the box, you have beer off sales and food takeout. Tell me about the limitations and what's around that in your situation.
I think it's similar with every business, and not just ours, but any idea you come up with, you're going to be faced with things or people that say, no, you can't do it, or you can't do it this way, or you're limited to this. Our drive-to window, we wanted it to be drive-through window when we applied to the liquor board. They said you can't do drive-to because they want to make sure that at least you're encouraging people to put it in the back of their trunk and not sit it next to them in the driver's seat, which is, we understood. So it's a drive-to window, so people can go around back, they can park, they can go to this window instead of waiting in line. They can say, hey, I want to put an order for food in, or they can just pick up their 6-packs there. They're off sales. Yeah.
And do you have, have you looked at Uber Eats or Skip the Dishes?
We did during COVID especially. Okay. We looked at a few companies to do that. We would have to raise our prices up in order to match their markup.
Got it.
So that we didn't find fair to our guests. And
do you get a fair amount of people driving up?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's a nice tool to utilize. I've
been impressed with you. Denigrated your doodle at the beginning, but you've got really good design, marketing, presence, photography.
Thank you.
Every question I ask you say, well, I do that. I drive the combine, or I drive but on that front, photography, I know that's something that you're passionate about, and all the imagery we see is...
always been interested in photography since I was a young kid. And
you must have got a good price on a camera at Future Shop.
Yeah, that was the benefit of working there. Technology was easily accessible. Photography has always been something I've been interested in, and that's what Dan and I kind of based of what are we going to do in our business? Who's going to do what? Well, what do we enjoy, right? Dan does a lot of the back end stuff, deals with the trades. He's Mr. Fix-It around Farmhouse, and he has his parts that are wonderful, and he helps. He comes to the manager meetings, and he helps have us align in our visions, and along with our different sections like front of house or kitchen and back of house, and then me in the front you do a lot when you're an owner operator. So the stuff that I was interested in was photography, social media, HR, PR, like the events and whatnot that happen at Farmhouse, like Mamba and whatnot. That was all stuff that I was interested in. So kind of, it's important to do what you enjoy for work. Otherwise, like what's really the point? Like if you're going to be dreading going to work every single day, like no one wants that. So if you get an opportunity to open up your own business and you want to make it a certain way, pick stuff that you enjoy so that you could say, I'm excited to go to work. I'm excited to see what's happening today. I'm excited to see what beer my brewer's making, so I could like showcase it at its best, you know.
Instagram seems to be a really popular venue for you. You've got 16,000 followers, and we promoted this on our Instagram account, and Rebekah collaborated with you, and then all of a sudden we're just seeing these 350 odd
that's fun.
Little hearts happening, and it's like, whoa, this is amazing. Has it had a business impact for you?
Yeah, I would say using social media like Facebook and Instagram, like they're free. It's your best marketing tool that you could ever use. Advertising in the newspaper, we do that every so often, like the A to Z, and then also like Chilliwack votes and whatnot. We do like the small little advertising, but it's pricey. Like you got a budget for everything, including your advertising. You got to pick and choose which avenues you want to go with and really go for it. So yeah, of course, at the beginning, our budget was itty bitty. So yeah, our socials is huge, and it still has, because we've gained a following, and like everybody likes, you know, watching a business grow, and everybody likes watching like what's happening in the business and what they're doing now, kind of thing. So it's nice to gain those followers. Are there any
particular types of posts or videos or reels that have been really effective that you go back to and do again and again?
This summer has been ducky, believe it or not. A little kid left their little duck at Farmhouse, at our brewery, and it's got one arm, and it's like the most well-loved duck, and it's a jelly cat, so you know it's not some bougie dog toy. But it was huge. It just exploded, and I think it's because everybody can relate. Like, we've all either had a blankie or a teddy or a stuffy when we're a kid, and if we lost it, like, we could not go to sleep. And everybody relates to that, and especially parents with kids. Like, you know, it's like a replay of our childhood. So that, of course, exploded. Another one that's a big hit is like showing like our cheesecakes, which our chef is amazing at making all these different flavored cheesecakes. We usually have a different one every week. We now have a cheesecake following. People come in specifically for that. So those are a big hit. But you know when things are good. Yeah. When it's a good thing. Yeah.
You mentioned it, but you've been doing improvements and kind of really being smart about not over-investing, being patient, saving up, financing some.
It's hard to be patient sometimes.
Yeah. So in Chilliwack, you mentioned Abbotsford. That's on the. My next question is what's next, but do you feel like you have everything sussed out in Chilliwack and it's exactly like you wanted, or do you still have aspirations? You mentioned some storage.
Yeah, other than the storage out back, that would be a nice thing to have, addition to have. We're pretty maxed out. We only have 11 and a half acres. You're only allowed to do so much with it, and you need to have a certain amount, like I said, for farming. And we don't want to take up more of the farmland behind us that, you know, we want to keep as much as we can. Thankfully, we utilize the barns that are there for storage, and we have like our huge cooler that keeps all our kegs and all our beer in. So
you recently paved the parking lot. Which is a huge
so
improvement.
it used to be gravel when we first opened, first couple of years, and that was an investment, paving it. But it's way better for our guests and, you know, personally, to go in there and not have to go take your car through a car wash every single day because it's mucky.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a nice improvement, and then we expanded because thankfully, Liquor Board let us expand picnic tables. We expanded, we put the tent up, then we put the putting green up with the outdoor bar. That was a huge improvement because like it takes away the lineups inside. It alleviates them, should I say. Because everybody can just reorder their drinks outside. And then the playground. The playground was our last update there.
Yeah,
And the side of the barn. The side of the barn definitely needed an update.
Yeah, you should be really proud of what you've created.
Thank you.
It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Speaking of being proud, you were the recipient of the Chilliwack Chamber of Commerce Agricultural Excellence Award this past February.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
And I was at that, and there was like 10 finalists in every category. And did you come packing an acceptance speech, or did you think there's no way we're going to win?
No, it was not prepared at all. We've been nominated before for Excellence in Agriculture. It was based on the things that we've been able to accomplish with our barley field, as well as like our chemical-free like weeding and that we've established for the hop side of things and whatnot, as well as promoting agriculture. We're huge lovers of agriculture, and it's such an important aspect of our business to us. Approximately 33% of business in Chilliwack is agriculture. It's at the heart of Chilliwack. So promoting that and getting that out in the open and getting the attention of like the government and making sure that farmers are getting the help that they need and supporting other farmers. That's what we were recognized for in excellence, and we were quite tickled with that. But no, we weren't expecting it. So going up there, that was just winging it. Yeah.
Well done. My next question is, and this is actually a good picture that you see a lot of the things you described with the playground and the putting green
and the hops in the background.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What's next?
What's next is Abbotsford. We got approached about 3 years ago from the owners of the Eco Farm. They're about a 143-acre farm.
So that's on...
When you're on your way to Costco.
Got it.
Yeah, the Eco Dairy's on the left there. So we're going to be behind there on that same property. We consulted, of course, the most important people in our lives, which are our kids. We asked our 3 boys, is this something that you would want mom and dad to create and you guys be a part of? And they said, yeah, let's do it. No hesitation.
You live in Yarrow, so I imagine it's similar distance.
It's amazing what God puts in your path and what's meant to be. We're 18 minutes away from Chilliwack, and we're exactly 18 minutes away from our house in Abbotsford, from the Abbotsford location. So right in the middle. We so far have the building up, the roof on, the cooling system's going in right now.
In this situation, did you buy the land or are you leasing?
No, we're leasing.
Got it.
We definitely couldn't afford to purchase the land.
Right.
When we were approached 3 years ago, we had no inkling or want to open up another brewery. We figured we're blessed with what we have and what we're able to give back with our brewery, and we weren't looking to build another one. However, when we got that email in, I said, let's meet with them and see what their vision is for having a farmhouse on their property and see what kind of people they are. Because, of course, the Vanderkoys who own it, they're there all the time. They run the Eco Dairy. They lease out what was Nature's Pickens, it's now Seasons. And they have chickens on the farm and beef cattle on the farm too. So it's a working farm, and we want to be able to know that we can get along. And their morals, their business sense, and their personalities aligned perfectly with ours.
So when are you opening?
We're going to open, hopefully, knock on wood, summer of next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck.
Yeah. It's going to be good. We keep telling ourselves we've been through this rodeo once before.
Yeah.
Lord willing, there won't be another COVID. And we'll be able to perhaps, we're hoping that the winter season in Abbotsford will be more of an even keel through that season, because winter is a tough one for us. So.
Well, thanks for sharing your story. It's inspirational. And I do have one last question for you that I forgot to ask. Any advice for folks in a married couple that are considering working with one another? Like how have you managed to do that successfully?
Has been amazing. Like Dan and I, as business partners, we get along like peaches and cream. We have that same vision for our company that we own and operate. So I think that really helps. And we're both very determined people as well. We bounce ideas off of each other and make sure that we're both in agreement with each other. And we respect each other's talents and roles in Farmhouse. So I would say if you're going to go into business with your partner, make sure you have a good one and that you have a strong relationship, because business isn't easy as is. Yeah. And marriage isn't easy as is. But if you have a good foundation with both in what you want for the future, then it should work. And never give up. Never, ever, ever give up.
Well, let's hear it for Colleen.